What a wonderful week we've had so far. Thank you all for being here today. Here we are into the home stretch. So, with all the talk about agentic apps and the shift from SaaS's, seat-based and user-based pricing to the world of outcomes as a service where AI is actually doing the work for us, one of the big challenges that's facing companies that are selling into large-scale enterprises or regulated industries is how to get their AI-powered solutions from demo through procurement and security and into actual production with those meaningful businesses. So I'm John Huehn. I head up Launchpad for Pegasystems. We provide a platform on which companies, maybe like yours, are building agentic solutions that deliver outcomes, which may be an audit or a claim or even a closed sale might be the outcome. And they're building those on our AI-powered development engine, and then they're deploying those onto our enterprise-grade, secure, scalable architecture. And I've invited Adrian Murray, CEO of Fisent, to the stage with me today to share his experiences building an AI-powered product and building a business around that, and that business is now selling those applications into regulated banks and insurance companies and fintechs where they are being used at scale. So in the next 8 minutes, Adrian is going to show and tell you how he has built his agentic solutions and how he is having those deployed and adopted in those large-scale enterprises. Adrian, why don't you start by telling us what you built?
Thanks, John, and thanks for everybody for coming and joining us today. As John mentioned, I'm Adrian Murray. I'm the founder and CEO of Fisent Technologies. We're an applied AI software company based out of Toronto. And for those of you guys that haven't heard of us, our platform, BizAI, is a platform that enables regulated enterprises to turn unstructured content into automated outcomes. Today, what I'm going to tell you guys about is a concept that we and our partners at Launchpad call outcomes as a service. Really, the whole idea of outcomes as a service is bringing together the series of technologies and the know-how to do something pretty simple, which is get an outcome. And the idea there is we at Fisent bring the content intelligence layer, which we believe is a critical part of being able to address some of the more complex enterprise challenges and use cases that exist in the market. Launchpad brings the determinism and workflow and structured auditable platform that allows these things to actually run at scale. And together we've found and have proven and now scaled this solution to financial institutions across North America. So I'm going to start by taking that and kicking off a demo of an application we developed in partnership with Launchpad with BizAI at its core. This is an application called RegERI. It's focused on regulatory testing, so it's testing consumer complaints. And I think if it'll run, I don't know if it's going to run. Is it going to run? Yeah, it's moving. You guys will start seeing this process. What I would highlight and want everyone to take out of this is you're going to see a workflow. You're going to see AI analyzing and processing this content as it goes through the workflow. But really, I would argue that's not the kind of only concept here. It's really the idea that these two things are working together to get to this end state, which is validated, tested disputes that we can now, reliably, in an insured way, prove to our customer, the financial institution, the fintech provider, that this dispute has actually been processed in a manner that's appropriate. And so, really, the idea here, I would say the big insight that we came across with our partners at Launchpad is that this is not an all or nothing proposition. I think there's a lot of folks out there that are sort of selling agentic AI as the answer to every kind of problem. Our argument is that the combination, John, right, of this sort of deterministic workflow with the probabilistic power of these models and the platform we've developed together is what actually delivers that outcome that gets a bank procurement person to actually buy and adopt and then run these solutions.
So from your perspective, Adrian, you're using deterministic logic for things that don't need to be creative, and you're using Gen AI in a more interpretive or creative fashion. So you minimize variability with workflow and deterministic logic, and you enable processing, ingestion, those types of things through generative AI.
That's right. And our argument, I think most folks that have been through this, if you have been through this procurement process with large banks or insurance companies, is that the procurement folks don't buy AI because it's interesting. We would love them to do that, but they don't. They buy it because it can survive their process, which is information security reviews, architectural design assessments, and this whole litany of kind of tests and exams and compliance audits that you have to pass to actually be viable.
So you give the automation capability that comes with the agentic workflow, but also then the confidence that there is a consistency and repeatability to the outcome that gets delivered, so we're not being creative when we're doing an audit, as an example.
Yeah, the way we like to put it is like one of our lessons for folks is like, don't lead with the model as much as we want to do that, lead with the outcome. And that's kind of what solutions like this let you sort of put together. In the case of our customer, who is Kaufman Rawson, they're a well-renowned kind of regulatory testing advisory firm in the US. They do this work for some of the biggest fintech programs and banks in the United States. The lesson there is really that you can take kind of the messy evidence that they're dealing with in this process that you would have saw earlier in the workflow. You can combine that with the rules and deterministic structure that something like Launchpad provides, and bring in their SME knowledge and experience. When you put all that together, what you effectively get is a governed solution that they can actually run and deploy. But then I'd say like the up level to all that is, that's an interesting story and use case, and I think John, you can kind of just cycle here, yeah. But really, this is a pattern that exists across, we would say, sort of the entire financial services sector, maybe actually even much more broadly into other regulated industries, where you can combine the power of these two technologies, the deterministic workflow and this probabilistic engine together. And we're seeing that firsthand. So we're solving these same problems in consumer complaints, we're doing stuff in claims, we're doing stuff in loan origination, really any type of workflow that has these two combination of factors, the sort of human inference that has to be applied, the deterministic logic and rules and SLAs and requirements. Those two things together let you effectively build and deliver what we would call an outcome.
So I think, Adrian, one of the other things is like token maxing is a thing that people are talking about these days. And what you're doing with the deterministic logic and the workflow side is you're not burning tokens where you don't need to be burning tokens by driving generative AI. You're using the tokens in the places where you need to use tokens to ingest data, interpret data, make things happen that pushes the process forward, but you're not burning them on the core running of the business workflow.
Yeah, I think that's another great insight, and like everyone I'm sure is starting to hear a lot more about this. Enterprise budgets are getting kind of constrained, and there's a lot of pressure on folks to actually think a little bit more intelligently about how these technologies are being applied. As with all new technology, this is inevitably how things evolve and develop. For us, kind of the proof is in the traction. So we've got a dozen customers we're doing this sort of thing with across 20 plus use cases in production. We're processing monthly hundreds of thousands of what we call virtual pages of content through our service in combination with other technologies that are providing the workflow foundation. And we have a mandate from all of our customers to kind of expand and do more. So kind of how I'd wrap up for you guys, at least from my side in thinking about this, is when you're looking at a regulated enterprise and a complex business process, don't just think, okay, how do we add AI to this? Really focus on what outcome are we trying to deliver, and when you bring the technologies together to do that, it is possible to actually get this stuff to scale and in production. So John, I'll hand it back to you.
Well, thanks very much, Adrian. That was a very informative 8 minutes, so appreciate that. If you would like to connect with Adrian after the session, if you have any questions, you can find him and me if you'd like to learn more about Launchpad. We have a booth just across in the other hangar and would love to see you there. But also, if you're so inclined, you can get started building on Launchpad today. Just click on that, scan that QR code. It'll take you to our site. You can get started. We would be glad to connect with you, maybe introduce you to one of our forward deployed engineers and help you get going on creating outcomes in your business and growing and scaling your business with you. So thanks very much, everybody.